I'd like to join you.
All right, hello, good morning, and welcome to our policy committee meeting. It is Friday, October 23rd. We'll get right to the agenda. First up for our review is policy C-19, policy concerning health and safety protocols relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is just generally an enabling policy allowing us to create the C-19 policies as it relates to health and safety protocols. You recall that last time we had a policy that was enabling us to create C-19 policies. In general, this is more tailored specifically towards health and safety protocols. Do we have any questions or comments about that? Okay, hearing none, I understand that Member Dave Brown will be joining us a little bit later on Zoom this morning, and we'll certainly give him an opportunity to look back depending and for comment on any of these, depending where we are in the sequence. Next up, policy 5300 C-19, policy relating to student use of the district computer systems and electronic communications. Again, this is some additions related to COVID-19, tailored to the idea that the school day could be conducted within the computer hardware that we are providing. You can see that the new sections are underlined. They're rather self-explanatory. I didn't have any notations on this. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add, Marge. Okay. Do any of the members present have any questions? Okay. All right. Moving on to revisions to policies 5130-C-19, student attendance truancy and chronic absenteeism. Again, these are some additions related to COVID. It's again rather self-explanatory. Does anyone have any questions concerning this? Okay. I did not have any notes either. Okay, next up, number 4, revisions to policy 1250-C-19, school volunteers, student interns, and other non-employees. Again, this is COVID related and relates to our volunteers following our safety protocols in the schools. I did not have any notes. Did anyone else? Actually, I did have one note. Marge, on the third page or the second to last page in the section at number 8, there's a sentence that says personally identifiable student information concerning another student.
Where are you?
It's the second to last page. Right. So, I'm sorry, because I typed them all. I stapled them all together. Hold on a second.
Is this on the, how do you want to do this?
It goes 1, 2. Oh, you know what? No, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm not there yet. Hold on a second. You're right. I had nothing on 1250. So somehow the next one got stapled together. I apologize. Okay. So we had nothing on that. The next one was revisions to policy 1225 related to visitors in the school. And then this is also COVID related. And I had a question on page 3, number 8. And just to be clear, we have volunteers in the school, or when we have them, they may observe students, and they may observe students that may have aids. They may be not, teaching aids, et cetera. I was just trying to make sure I understand what what it is this paragraph is looking to ensure, because I think there's personally identifiable information. As soon as you walk in the building, you actually have to report all of the information you as an observer or a reader coming into a class, what you see, to the principal to say, this is what I saw, just so our volunteers know.
So in the same way that viewing a Zoom classroom creates a transitory record, which is not covered by FERPA. So if you're walking through the hallway and you see a student being disciplined, it's transitory. However, if you overhear or view something that is really, a substantive item about a student, that would be the kind of thing that would be covered by this paragraph.
Okay. I mean, I think it would be important, as you put this into practice, that the volunteers have a very clear idea of what they need to report and what their responsibilities are, especially since this is new. All right, that was the only thing I had on that.
I think that also, I think Mr. Burkett also sort of limits to, for instance, if you're going in to do a read with the students, that's your purpose, sole purpose, and you can't be collecting, or, well, I say collecting is the wrong word, but either inadvertently or otherwise go beyond that scope.
Right. Okay, next up, revisions to policy 1200, use of school facilities. I had a note on that, on that first page where it reads, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the superintendent may limit or restrict the use of school facilities by community and other groups based on the guidance of federal, state, and local health authorities and consistent with applicable law. My first concern about the language is that what if there are conflicts between federal and local and state law? Does this give the superintendent the ability to sort through any discrepancies? Because I think especially as it relates to COVID, sometimes there are discrepancies between different bodies, whether they're on the state or federal level. And I just want to make sure that the superintendent is given guidance on where he's supposed to go with that. I don't know if it's a question maybe with regard. I mean, this came out of Shipman's office, right?
Right, it did. So we could clarify that if there is a,
You've accurately articulated what would happen in that case. So that's what I would do.
Okay. And then the other thing, and then I'll let other members lead just my other issue. This may be a board discussion, but it occurs to me when this policy was created, it was so that the administration and the provision of fields would be done, fairly and consistently. I don't think this policy obviously wasn't created with the idea that the fields might be shut down during a pandemic. I think as a practical matter, when we do this, we're talking about enormous community interest, because if you shut down the fields, if you have a DLATS, a DSA, a DGFL, field hockey, I think even baseball is on some of those fields for a little bit doing T-ball. And I think while the decision as to whether or not those fields remain open or closed rightly is in the superintendent's office, but I wonder if it might be prudent to have some level of boarding engagement, even if it's reporting beforehand and taking a sense of the board or having board questions on it. But make no mistake, I think that it relies on the superintendent. But as long as we're talking about it, and as long as it's in this situation, I wonder if there isn't a mechanism, to have more engagement. I don't know if what you guys may feel, but that was just one thought I had when I looked at this. Go ahead.
You'll forgive me.
No.
As articulated, one of the things that the order of priority is articulated here and is personalized to the district in many ways. Mr. Burke, I would just see that as an administrative task, and certainly if, as in any other scenario, matters of governance, if you thought we're out of whack and stuff, there'd always be conversations. But I honestly couldn't be coming back every time here to execute, use of facilities respectfully.
Fair enough, Katie, you had.
My only question, March, for this policy, and I think the following policy, they're not designated Cs, and they are pretty prescriptive with COVID language. So is the plan to then, post-pandemic, to revise again and remove this paragraph, or are we better off making it a broader?
There should have been a C. There
Okay.
should have been Cs.
Thank you.
I apologize, and I thought I had checked it, but I'll add Cs for the main agenda.
And then one question on the form, the revised form, the highlighted in yellow, so it's on our page 45. Cancellation of police due to activity cancel. Should we say activity cancellation? Just grammatically or whatever. It sounds a little weird.
Yeah.
Due to activity cancel is responsibility of event chairperson. I just think, can we make it cancellation? Or to event being canceled, to activity.
Katie, can you just point me to the,
Page, okay, on my 45, it's
Yep.
the form,
Yep.
just it's all in red and then the yellow highlighted in bold.
yeah, got it.
It just, the wording is a little awkward. We could
Yep.
just. That's it.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right. Anything else on that? Okay, then moving on to our last, which relates to student discipline, current policy 5220, and the proposed revised policy 5220, student discipline. We have both the old and the new in our packet. And Marge, when I was looking through here, there were some things that were like bold, and I could tell that they were new or they were in italics. But then there were also, maybe I was just bad with my printer, but when you look through the new, how do we see exactly which is?
So
Which
the
is
only
new.
thing that would be highlighted are the COVID provisions, because the changes to the policy were so massive that redlining, we would
Right.
never. So some of that bold and italics Shipman added for emphasis. I mean, I can take it out because it's a little unclear why they added certain things. But the only thing that applies to COVID and that will go away as of June 30th are the items in red. I tried in the memo, in the bullets, to let you know the
Right.
legal changes that we needed to comply with.
And then the changes that are not COVID related, are there changes that aren't COVID related? Because there are some, are there
Yes.
not?
Yeah.
And then, okay, and then those are all highlighted as well,
So the
correct?
reason,
Right, but they're not, yeah,
that's why we repealed and replaced, because there had been so many changes to the law.
okay. All right. Do any of the members have any questions?
I'm not sure. So I have to-
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm going to have to check on the.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you were
I'm
looking. I
sorry. Probably
apologize.
wasn't.
Then I had a note in the section Roman numeral 3, actions leading to disciplinary action, including removal from class and suspension and/or expulsion within
Mr. Burke,
that section.
may I actually just can I just remind people just to put your mics on?
Oh, it's
Because
not
people
on?
are some people just can't hear online. Thank you.
Okay, this it tells me it's on. Okay. It's actually page, oops, I'm sorry. Well, within that whole section on bullying. So if you have a student who isn't being bullied, but let's say they observe bullying in class, and the kid who's being bullied, elects not to say anything, but the student who observes it is troubled. Within this section, is there an ability for them to report an incident? To me, it's almost like the harassment cases. You might not be the receiver of harassment, but you may be troubled by observing it. So do we in the policy have an ability to allow students who are observing this behavior to report it?
Right, our bullying policy, which ties in the state bullying law, anyone can make a report as to bullying.
Okay.
And then there's an investigation, obviously. Okay.
Right. That's all I had within that. Was there, did anybody have anything else? Okay, I think as just a general comment, after this will go to the board for review and possible action, but within this whole range of policies, I think there's a lot that's different, and I think that we should also be vigilant about getting this on our website and perhaps flagging it for parents. I think particularly with relation to the school facilities use, that's a topic that comes up, and I think it's important for the public to understand how those decisions get made and what's a board decision and what's a superintendent decision. And to the extent people then can look and see that, oh, this is the office where that occurs, it'll be helpful. Because I think we will, depending on what happens the rest of this year and going into next year, especially with the field usage, I think there'll be a lot of questions, and they'll want to know where to properly go.
Mr. Burke, Mr. Chairman, are you referring to when it is if and when it's adopted by the board?
Right, correct.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's, yeah.
Thank you.
So and that's, and that's just a general, communication matter that as we update these policies and they become, I mean, if you listen to them, if you listen to a meeting, you hear about it, but maybe there's a way we can think about, putting a tag on our website saying, updated policies, especially now since we're doing all these policies related to COVID, there's probably greater interest than is typical.
So I know that you've seen, Mr. Burke, on Shipman and Goodwin's website, in their policies, they have the COVID-19 section. So again, we'd have to direct parents there, but that might be a way to highlight the things that have changed.
Sure. When it comes to marketing, I'm probably the last person who has a good idea, but I see the need sometimes for it. Okay. Does anyone present have anything else? Okay.
In the packet, we already got the packet, right? It's Friday. We may want to just tell board members with the last policy, the discipline, it's easier to actually print out the old and the new and look at them side by side. And that is the one policy we may, it's possible we could get action on every policy except that one. That's dense and probably needs, people need time to digest it.
Right. And I will just say that there's nothing in there that's not COVID related that we're not doing anyway because it's the law.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
But
it's just,
understand.
it's a
lot.
Right. All right, very well. I mean, I'll note, Dave doesn't look like, I don't see him on the screen. He'll have an opportunity at the full board meeting to ask any questions about these policies. Is there
I'm
any?
here. I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see Dave. Okay.
I didn't want to grace you with my hat, so you're good. But
All right, Dave, was there anything you wanted to add? I know you had sent me an email with a question, but I don't know if the policy citation that you were referring to, do you have anything at this point?
yeah, so I did have two comments which I sent in, and again, I joined late. I had a bus stop. My apologies for not being here for all of it. So if I go over something you already covered, sorry. Very quickly, we had some policies going in there about the information technology and access to our networks. I just want to know, do we have any acknowledgement or sort of click-through agreement that users have to click on? I just want to make sure if we do have any verbiage there, it is in agreement with the policies we're putting in place. Alternatively, if we don't have any sort of click-through acknowledgement that users do, is that something we should consider while we're going to be beefing up some of these policies here? That was the main point I wanted to raise for right now.
Mark?
So we do have an acceptable use agreement. If the board approves this policy, we'll make sure, but this policy is just meant to reinforce that anytime you're on our network or using our software, so the acceptable use agreement should be fine, but we will review it to be sure.
Thank you very much.
All right, with that, I'll ask, is there any public comment?
Good morning. If you would like to speak during public comment, click the participants icon on the bottom of your Zoom screen. Next, click the raise hand option. You will notice a blue hand icon appear in the upper corner of your screen where your face, name, or number appears. When it is your turn to speak, the facilitator will identify you and announce that you are unmuted for public comment. Once recognized and unmuted, please state your name and address. You will have up to 3 minutes to comment. It appears there is no one for comment.
All right, with that, then I'll call for the meeting to be adjourned, and thank you for everyone for participating this morning.